What's going on, y'all? This is Kofi here, and this is the first ever video for the Dispatch YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? There's already a blog, but the YouTube channel is launching now. Shout out to my boy Wenz for giving me the opportunity, and this is the first video on the channel. And the topic of today's video is Killian Hayes. And as a Knicks fan, Killian Hayes was definitely a player that caught my attention in last year's draft. We had the 8th overall pick, and like we always have, we needed a point guard. And he was definitely a player that was intriguing to me. He did, though, end up going 7th before our pick to the Detroit Pistons, becoming the highest drafted French player of all time. And a lot of people were really high on him as a player, but a year into his career, it's been very up and down for the 20-year-old. And there have been some good things, but there's also been a lot of things he's struggling with. His rookie year, he was sidelined for a lot of the time due to injury, and he has had struggles scoring the ball. Only played around 30 games in his rookie year, and now here in his second year, just 13 games in, but he hasn't really made the offensive leap a lot of Detroit Pistons fans were expecting from their top 10 pick. And, he is the starting point guard, playing 26 minutes a night and only averaging 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists on 30, 38, 90 splits, which is not great at all. Also, keep in mind, for that 90% from the free throw line, he barely ever gets to the line. And that leads to, obviously, the big concern with him. He can't score that consistently. Going into the draft, he averaged, I think, 13 a game overseas. A lot of people thought he would be able to develop into a good scorer in his NBA career. He's got really good size for a point guard. Lefty, got a nice step back, has a nice handle. All the tools are there for him to become a good scorer, but it hasn't happened just yet. And there's a lot of bad with him, but I'm here to tell you why you should not give up on him. You should not give up on him just yet. He is just 20 years old. I've heard some people call him a bust and stuff on Twitter, which I think is crazy for a variety of reasons, but the biggest one being this dude has literally played only 40 career games at the time I am recording this, and he has all the tools to be a really good player, which I do feel like some people tend to forget how young he is, and people look at scoring and say that's immediately a bad player. And I will admit, yes, he has been bad so far. He has been a bad NBA player, but people seem to fail to acknowledge when a player isn't a good scorer, that doesn't mean they aren't a good player. He does a variety of things well, including defense and, most of all, his passing. He's got a nice handle on him. He's big for a point guard. He's got good size. And one improvement he's definitely made this year, as I said, was his catch and shoot threes. He's definitely improved on. And as for his defense, as of right now, he's a good defender. I do think he will get better, but I mean, he's still 20. He does make defensive mistakes time to time, but his real problem is scoring the basketball, which as a starting point guard in the NBA, I mean, really just as a point guard overall, I mean, 5 points on 26 minutes a game is unacceptable. And that is where Cade Cunningham comes in. Cunningham was Detroit's number 1 overall pick, and I think Killian Hayes, his most easiest path to being good with the Pistons is probably not going to be as, primary creator, primary ball handler. He can maybe do that occasionally, but I mean, their offense has been pretty bad, historically bad shooting wise, with him as a starting point guard, which you can't, put all the blame on him, but you can't just ignore the fact that he's a starter and he's really failed to create for others at times. And Cade Cunningham, 6'8", immense scoring potential. He's a great shooter in college. A lot of people project that he will be a really good shooter in the NBA, even though as of right now, his shooting numbers from three are not great at all. Obviously, extremely early in his career, coming off an injury, has barely practiced with the Pistons. But if Hayes can be a complementary player to Cunningham, I think that's going to be his role if he develops. I don't think he's going to be some star point guard that maybe some people had thought he could become prior to the draft. He just doesn't have that scoring ability. All star point guards are good scorers. Most are great, but almost all really good point guards are at least good. Almost every starting point guard in the NBA is at least a good scorer. But a player I feel Killian should really look into, modeling his game after is Lonzo Ball, the former second overall pick. Has obviously had a up and down career, similar to Hayes. Ball's obviously been better, but the similarities, both came in the draft as really good passers. Both, were looked at as these guys are special passers, and they have the offensive potential as scorers. Both big guards, both can rebound, both can definitely play defense. And obviously it's taken Lonzo a while to develop as a three-point shooter, but he definitely has. He's a really good catch-and-shoot player now. And I feel like alongside Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes could do the same, It's not going to be immediately, but Cunningham has definitely, had a few really good scoring performances, and he's almost definitely going to be, the main ball handler in Detroit. So what Killian Hayes needs to do is use his creativity in good spots, play really good defense, and really focus on hitting catch and shoot threes, similar to Lonzo Ball, who another similarity between them is that they both have struggled getting to the cup, even though they are big guards for their position. And even though Lonzo has that limitation to his game, he has been able to adapt and maybe not become the superstar point guard some people have predicted, but he's become a really good role player. And I do think Killian Hayes can become that. He has all the tools. I said he's extremely young, 40 career games played. That is such a little sample size we are working off of. And I really do think the fact that people are calling him a bust already is insane to me. Obviously, I can get the frustrations with the player drafted so high. He hasn't played up to the 7th overall pick so far, but really young, and I think he could be a similar player to a Lonzo Ball. You see the way Lonzo's thriving now in Chicago alongside a player like Zach LaVine, a great scorer who's, also a good passer. I feel Killian Hayes could do the same with Cade Cunningham. Obviously, different situation. Cade Cunningham, very different player from Zach LaVine. Probably more of a passer than LaVine, more of like a point forward. LaVine really a scorer who also, definitely has some playmaking capabilities. But if Hayes can be the perfect complementary guard and then maybe occasionally, be the primary ball handler with the second unit, I really do think that could work out. And it's just way too early in his career to call him a bust. And he is a great passer, man. Some of his passes are just insane. His vision is clearly there. And that is why I really just think it's too early to write off Killian Hayes as an NBA player.